Hello, my name is Cam from Dividend Impera team, and this is a video about why I hate pikes. I fucking hate them. I wasted more than 1 year of my life trying to balance this shit. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention it. There'll be a lot of harsh language here because it got very personal for me. What to start? This time I have them all listed down there. Okay. Um, how pikes should work? Well, in perfect world, pike formation should be very strong from the front and weak from the flanks and the rear. Of course, pike units should be able to withstand pretty much any punishment frontally. At least maybe not like beat everything frontally, but at least hold them off for a long time until other units will do the killing for them. And in real world, pike as a weapon is an offensive weapon. It's very heavy, it's unwieldy, so using it for prolonged time will actually make pikemen weaker because they will get tired, and in pike phalanx it's very hard to mix and circle inside the formation. For example, if you want to go back to rest a bit, while your opponents can do pretty much anything they want because their formation does not need to be intact, while pike formation needs to be solid, because if any soldiers will go into the gap, the pike formation is broken. And this other thing, I think that pike formation should be able to do killing from a historical point of view and from gameplay point of view. Of course, it should be very strong on defense frontally and strong on attack frontally, but there should be a mechanic that at some point formation will turn off. For example, if soldiers were hit by a cavalry charge in the back, or for example if soldiers lost maybe, let's say, 25-30% of the troops in formation, the formation will be broken, and that would work. Or maybe if they are attacked at the same time from all sides, or somehow it triggers if they are attacked from front, flanks and rear, maybe it should turn off. And I think that would work quite well, because it would work both for player and for AI. And this is other thing. If AI is dumb as this now, it cannot have a defensive phalanx. Why? Because most of people use an argument that pike phalanx is meant for fixing enemy formations in place and not for the killing. Okay, sounds good for me if people want it, but it actually works the other way around, because okay, for player it works okay. Player has a phalanx, it gets attacked by AI troops, player's phalanx will fix them in place and then circle around with cavalry, do the charge, go home happy. But in hands of AI, if AI has a phalanx that is only purely defensive, cannot do the killing on their own, it actually doesn't work like a fixing force. Yes, it will fix your troops, but so your levy troops, so your light troops will be able to fix their strongest phalanx unit in place, because their phalanx unit will not do any killing, and hence your levy Eastern Spearmen or some levy garrison spearmen will actually be fixing silver shields in place for your troops to charge them in the back or in the flanks. That's why I think phalanx should be also offensive, because AI phalanx should be able to break your troops, and vice versa, your phalanx should be able to break their troops. But what is the problem if phalanx is too strong from the front and cannot be broken, well, then you can have like take one levy phalanx, fix it in a gate, and those 256 people will be able to hold 3,000 of men and probably kill even half of them, because they will be won't be a matter of if they will win, but when. So they will just slowly manage to kill more and more troops until rest will flee because they cannot be killed. And this is when we go to the second topic. What I did to balance pikes was to make their weapon reach shorter. That way, visually, AI troops can go past the pikes and attack soldiers from the front ranks of the phalanx. That way, even if you have, for example, well, maybe not even, but let's say you have regular unit of phalangitai, and which are medium troops at best, and they get attacked by for example, heaviest of some legionnaires or some other outsworn, they will be maybe at even, and then they will lose because they will slowly die off before they will be able to beat those units by themselves. And of course the levy troops will be broken anyway, but they will be able to at least do some kills against the phalanx. And also, shorter range actually fixes one of the issues we'll go later. But there was a huge shitstorm when I did those improvements, in my opinion, to how phalanx works, because people didn't like that AI troops can go past the pikes, and they said it's nonsense, it's bullshit, stuff like this, and they had all the rights in the world to say it, because obviously that is not how phalanx works in reality. But this is a broken game which I enjoy, which is maybe a bit masochistic, that I like it anyway, but that's not the topic. People didn't like it because enemy troops could go past the pikes. Fuck the fact that it actually worked for the gameplay, but if it doesn't look, it doesn't work for some people. So let me tell you how does why I did this. Well, why I did it, I told it million times in many places on Total War Center. But there were also many people who claimed they know how to fix it. They said that you can fix it by either increasing the weapon reach, because I gave pikes like 2.5 meter range, even though visually their pikes are much longer. So people propose that if you give them 5 meters of reach, they will visually work like a phalanx, and this is true. This is very true. They will actually be able to hold enemy troops on a distance, and this is an explanation I can work with. But I just hate it when people say that pike phalanx should have deadliness or armor piercing, like it's called, even though there is like other things that are actually called armor piercing in the files, but screw it. They should either they should have this weapon deadliness or AP, depends on how you call it. And this is the worst thing, because it makes them so much overpowered that it's not even funny, because I even tested it. For people, I didn't post it on the forum, but I tested it last week, and people who claim that this fixes the phalanx are so wrong, because even if I took out entire damage from the pike weapon and just gave them 1 point of weapon deadliness, it was a massacre. It was a slaughter. So yeah, It was a slaughter, but at least we know it won't work. Not that I didn't know it before, but now I know for sure. First thing, stationary phalanx and attacking phalanx. Many people are angry that their pike units are not following through with the attack, and to be honest, I kind of enjoy this feature of Rome 2, because if you just leave the pike in place and do not give them attack order, they will just hold the formation, try to fight at the distance, and just try to stay alive. So yes, it works. But but they do not follow through with the attacks. But if you press the attack button, they will move forward. They will break a bit the formation, but they will push more at the enemy and do more killing. And this is actually true, because many people are angry that their phalanx units are unable to do any killing. And to those people I say, just press the goddamn attack button if you want to have any kills. I know I sound like a douchebag, maybe kind of I am, but that's the topic for other video. But the thing is that if you think that if you mod the pikes, that they do a lot of kills even without giving them attack order, guess what will happen once you actually give them attack order? It will be again a massacre. So, and we do not want it. That plus AI pikes are always set to attack. Excuse me for a second. Fucking winter. Okay, so yes, AI phalanx will always behave like they are pressing the attack button. So you have to have those both things in mind when you balance it. So yes, and the attack, the kill ratios of pike units should be set to when they are actually given an attack order, and not when they are stationary. So keep those in mind. One more. Why I also like it? Well, because if you do not give them attack order, they will just remain in place. But if you give them attack order, what I said before, well, if they are stationary, they will just hold the position. But if you give them attack order, of course they will do more killing, but they will also be breaking their formation a bit, which actually makes them more vulnerable for attacks, even from the front, which I kind of like, because it's like a trade-off. Yes, if you stay in place, you will be invincible, let's say, but you won't do many kills. But if you order them to move forward and actually put a pressure on the enemy, they will do more kills, but they actually can get routed frontally because they will die more often. Yes, this is quite nice in my opinion. This is one of those things that actually Creative Assembly did well, but people hate them for it anyway. Okay, let's move forward to, I think, the most important topic: pike damage. I tried to fix it so many times. I tried to play other mods and see how they did it, but the results are the same everywhere. As you guys know, the damage is extracted from armor of a unit that is attacked. So, for example, if some weapon has like 18 weapon damage, and a unit that is being attacked has like 30 armor, there will be a roll between 0 and 30 to give the value that will block the damage. So if you, for example, have an attack that is armor that is higher than the weapon damage, you can actually be able to be secured from most of the damage, like you won't get any damage. But if you have like 0 armor, they will always get full damage. So yes, this is how armor and weapon damage works. And how it works for pikes, I have no idea. Basically, well, in theory I have the idea, but I have no idea how to control it. So pikes somehow, especially if they have very long reach, they somehow go past the defense, and they do a lot of damage on units. Even if you mod them very low weapon damage, it won't change a thing. It just will prolong the process in which they will start to get those damage points on the enemies. And this is where it gets really broken, because for some reason, if you give them very high weapon damage, well, maybe this is not like a very odd reason, but if you give them a lot of weapon damage, they will obliterate everything, because somehow their attacks are not being blocked by the enemy. And if you give them very high weapon damage, they will just shred everything, because even if units have high armor, they're basically being constantly given those rolls, those check rolls for the armor save, and they will just get slaughtered because they cannot like fight back. But even if you give them low damage, it doesn't help with anything, and this is even like the point where you see where it really gets broken. Because if you give them, for example, if like standard weapon damage is around 20 and you give them, let's say, 8 damage, they will be maybe even they might even work against heavy units, like in heavy armor and stuff. I even tested it. I gave pike units like a 5 weapon reach, which is enough to give them like this visually this barrier from the enemy. But and I first tried it with silver shields against some Iceni heavy unit, some general infantry with 45 armor, and it's okay. Frontally, silver shields of course destroyed them. At first it was like even, and then they started to win. At the end, the ratio was like for one dead silver shield, there were 4 dead Iceni infantry. And this was kind of okay, because silver shields were both more expensive than this unit, and obviously they were attacked from the front and at place where they are the strongest. So yes, then I took regular unit of phalangitai against the same Iceni unit, and they won, but it was like more even fight. It was like for one dead phalangitai, it was maybe 2 dead Iceni soldiers, which is acceptable in my opinion. It's okay too, because they are supposed to be strong frontally. And when I took like the crappiest Levi phalanx unit, they were of course beaten by this heavy Iceni infantry. Of course, after prolonged time, they were able to hold for like 9 or 10 minutes, but it is okay for a unit that is like 4 times cheaper than this Iceni heavy infantry. So it was okay. And then I tested it again with the same units, first the silver shields, then phalangitai, then Levi units, but this time I sent on them Levi units with low armor or no armor at all. And like I thought, it was a pure slaughter. The units were like dying like flies during like a 1 minute or 2 minutes of combat. They were routing. I even saw like a Levi, those crappy Levi phalanx to kill around 100 guys in 1 minute of combat. It's ridiculous. And then I had a huge idea. So because there's like this armor save, and there are like this damage, the damage that phalanx apply to the units is not like equal, because of course of no units without armor, it will be 8 and 8 and 8 and 8, yes, and so on until the unit dies. But on those heavy units that had more armor than the pike had weapon damage, I thought, well, okay, they even were able to be perfectly safe from the weapon damage. So I gave all pike units 1 weapon damage, which made it that even if they fight levy unit or heavy unit, they can do 1 damage at max. And I was like so happy at first because it actually worked. When I sent silver shields against some levy units, of course they were winning with the levies, but it wasn't like a huge slaughter. It was maybe like silver shields were able to kill like 30 guys in 1 minute of combat against some levy unit, which was perfectly acceptable, and I even enjoyed it. Yes. And the same worked for other units. Like the lower the unit class was, of course they were less kills, but because they had like a 5-meter weapon reach, even levies were able to hold heavy units and light units at a distance. And I thought I have the solution, like, because, well, the kill ratios weren't that high, and even the levy units worked as they supposed, like levy phalanx units, because they were able to hold heavy infantry at a distance. They weren't able to, of course, do any kills on them, at least on the test I did, but they were able to at least be safe against them. Of course, they were like slowly losing men, but at perfectly acceptable pace, and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to test. Okay, so those levies were able to hold those heavy units in place, but what will happen if I will send silver shields against this heavy units with 45 armor? Well, and that was a point at which I thought I have to do this video, because I thought I have a fucking solution finally. And it turned out that with only 1 weapon damage, those silver shields weren't able to kill any of the heavy infantry at all. So I thought, okay, it's the armor. So if I will take into melee weapons tables, that pike is armor piercing, armor penetrating, and shield penetrating weapon, and do not mix this armor piercing with weapon deadliness. Those are separate values. Weapon deadliness is set by numbers, and for the armor piercing, armor penetrating, and shield penetrating, you have just to tick it. So it's either yes or no for those. And I thought, okay, so with these things, I think that heavy units will die fast. No, they didn't. And once I gave phalanx units a bit more weapon damage, like 2 weapon damage, they again started to massacre levy units while still not being able to do anything against heavier units. So yes, this is the point. I got fucking angry at this. And lastly, why people think that pike units, when they try to balance pike units, or when they claim that I broke pike units, is when they look at pike unit killing and they do not see much kills done in like a minute or 2 of combat, and they claim that pikes are unable to kill anything. Well, because there is like some odd thing with pike units. If you give them damage that is high enough to inflict casualties on enemies right from the start of the combat, like from first seconds, well, guess what? It works like their weapon damage, or maybe like the killing ratio, gets higher and higher with each minute in combat. So the longer they are, the more kills they do, and this stamina things do not work on them like that much, because on many instances pike units are not treated like they are in combat, so they actually base might stay fresh or winded or active even if the unit that attacks them is already exhausted and has better stamina like overall than them. So yes, it's hard to control it, and you know, obviously when I balanced them for 1.1 release, I gave them low killing from the start, which pissed off a lot of people. But the same people didn't understand that the longer they stay, the more they kill. So even those people that claim that my phalanx units were crappy, of course I posted a photo in which my regular phalangitae were able to rout Roman Marian legionnaires only because in the frontal combat they were able to slowly get an upper hand until they were able to completely rout legionnaires. So this is how it works. So guys, keep those things in your mind. I might have a new solution how to make it work, but I am too tired today. I was supposed to finish some factions rebalance for Europa Perdita mod for Attila, but obviously I am so mental about the pikes that as soon as I have an idea I have to jump on it and see if it works. But you know, today I failed again, so I was inclined to make this video. I have one last solution. I hope it will work, but it will obviously require a lot of changes to combat overall. So we might not even see it like fixed patches for current version. It might be more of a thing for 1.2 release of Dividend Impera. So yeah, these are the news from the front of Pike balancing. And as always guys, stay positive, stay tuned for our new release. As always, we do a lot of work for you guys. We enjoy 1.1 release a lot, and next release will hopefully be even better. See you guys next time, and fuck you, Pike, phalanx.